Running with the runners. 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 Running with the runners.
Well, I hope y'all are running with the runners. It's Tuesday, August 26, 2025. We just keep winning another record-breaking week for the company and specifically for the Texit runners. We're going to break it down for all of you guys tonight and why you should be buying even more crypto right now. As always, I got my good brother here, Ricardo Hamilton, aka Mims, making it make sense. What's going on, man?
Yeah, fired up and excited as always, man. We got a phenomenal show for you guys. We just keep on winning. But I also want to say, if anybody was ever wondering in the beginning of the intro who won that race between me and Mike, I definitely won. Okay, we had an awesome time in Barcelona. Look, we probably gonna do some more racing out in Thailand. Okay, when we hit in Thailand. But yeah, we got a fire show for you guys. Fired up and excited. How are you, buddy?
Good. I think yeah, we're the Thailand rematch. I think that's what everyone's wanting.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to dodge like little
rematch,
bikes
baby.
and
It's gonna
mopeds and stuff. It'll be more of an obstacle course.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit.
All right, so I don't even know where to start, guys. We're gonna, once we get some more people on, we'll get into the new mining facility that Texit is building. We're gonna get into, believe it or not, the path to Texit hitting $2,000, which I know sounds crazy. But after hearing Bobby break it down, I think it is something that is possible once you understand the network effect and Metcalfe's law. But before we get into that, Mims, another huge week in crypto news. And again, like we've been telling you guys, guys, don't worry about the price. Okay. Focus on what you want, focus on value, and keep accumulating. So what happened this week, just to catch you guys up really quick, some Bitcoin whale went on Sunday afternoon and decided to just sell, like, I don't remember the amount, but like a crazy amount of Bitcoin in one sell. Like, so the guy was literally, he was longing ETH. So what is he did is he went in, sold a bunch of Bitcoin to crash the price. Then he bought ETH to push up the price of ETH when he was longing ETH just to make money, right? So listen, these markets are manipulated all day. People do this all the time. But what did the big boys do, Mims? They bought the dip. Fidelity bought 87.4 million worth of Ethereum. BlackRock bought 314 million worth of Ethereum. And Goldman Sachs bought 194 million worth of a Bitcoin ETF, guys. This literally all happened within the last 24 hours. And as Mims, I'll let you make it make sense here. Fun fact, 30% of all dollars were created, let me get this full screen, in the last 5 years. Right here we have 2020, boom, boom, Mims. You know what time it is. The dollar is going down. They keep creating out of thin air. You need to get assets as soon as you can.
Yeah. So if you're wondering why is Bitcoin hitting all-time highs, why are assets rising, why the cost of living is rising and inflation, everything, purchasing power is going down. The chart is right there. But if you understand how to flip this chart in your favor, then you don't get worried about this chart. You realize the opportunity in this chart, and that's what we're trying to help people see, how you can capitalize, on this information, especially right now in the crypto markets. But yeah, I mean, the dollar, it's not a surprise, Mike. We've been sharing this for a very long time now. People should know this by now. And the thing is you can understand the problem, but you need to implement the solution. And we talk about the solution all the time: saving in silver and gold, getting into digital assets. I mean, I had some silver come in the mail today. We never stop saving in silver and gold. You know what I mean? This is a wealth strategy that has been consistent, and we've been helping people do this for a very long time, and we're going to continue to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise to see that they've created so much dollars in the last 5 years, and they're going to create more because they can never stop creating dollars, because that is money, and money is debt, and they have to continue to increase the money supply, which the debt's going to continue to increase. So you know, Bitcoin and digital assets and precious metals are definitely the
Yeah,
solution.
and this is crazy, bro. Just look at 2010, $8,000 billion had been created. We're basically already at 24,000, right? So that means 33% of the dollars came into existence before 2010. We're not talking about like ancient history. We're talking about
Yeah,
2010. A third of the dollars
crazy.
existed. So two-thirds of the dollars basically have been created since my son was born at my first oldest son born in 2010. He's 15. 66% of the dollars were created in the last 15 years, and people are still trying to save their wealth in dollars, which is just
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, you can't do that. And you have to understand that that chart is gonna continue to exponentially grow because they have to pay interest on that debt. You know, and how do you pay interest? Well, you have to create more debt because the creation of debt is equated to the creation of money. So they have to continue to create more money, which creates more debt, which that increases the interest rate payment, which I think is like at $1 trillion a year right now. I mean, it's totally unsustainable. We know where this is going. That's why President Trump and the global financial system is hurrying up to usher in the new financial system, which is going to be an asset-based, blockchain-based financial system. Um, and you know that's why we're seeing a lot of the things that we're seeing politically here in the United States and as well as abroad. It's all in preparation for the global financial shift, the reset that's taking place. Everything you're seeing, it boils down to the money. Wizard of Oz, what was it? Follow the yellow brick road. You know, follow the money, right? So all the chaos and everything that was going around in the movie, it was, you know, when you got to the, you know, the main root of it, it was the Federal Reserve, okay, which was the little green man behind the screen, and you know, the corrupt money
Yep.
system. All right. But it's going to be these assets that's going to take us home and bring us that freedom that we've been looking for.
And again, guys, we can't talk about all these partnerships. Most of these are called ISO tokens, right? So you have Quant, HBAR partnered with the Saudi-backed bank. XLM has stablecoin settlement from Visa. XDC is doing real estate. Ripple's RLUSD is going to Japan. Ondo is tokenizing US equities. Check was added to JP Morgan. I mean, these things are just happening all the time. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but Tom Lee, one of the biggest financial advisors in the world, says the 4-year cycle is now dead and it's easily going to 1 million Bitcoin. Not coming from me. This was really good to hear, Mims, especially when we talk about Texit and other cryptocurrencies that have been targeted by the Biden administration and Gary Gensler and the SEC. The DOJ says it will not target developers that create decentralized crypto platforms without criminal intent. So again, finally, where innovation is allowed, right? Finally, the government will not try to destroy, entrepreneurs and people coming together to create value. So when I saw this, I was super excited just because I know what we're doing with Texit is truly revolutionary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, just more and more confirmation. You know, even I'm sure you probably gonna put it up. You know, talking about Crow today, and I mean, we're just so early. To this wealth transfer, folks. To understand something, all the quadrillions of dollars, they haven't even moved on chain yet. You know what I mean? This is everything just really getting set up, being put in place. A lot of the money hasn't even moved in yet. So this is the time to really get in. I think a lot of people saw today that Trump Media Group partnered with crypto.com and they're buying, I think it's like $6.4 billion worth of Crow, okay, in the Kronos ecosystem. Okay, so it's big major news. People saw Crow pop today. Their meme coin Crow with knife pop today. But crypto.com is going to be one of the biggest biggest crypto banks on the planet, man. I'm telling you, you guys. I mean, I look inside, and I don't know if you guys have navigated inside the crypto.com app, but they have the ability to buy stocks. I mean, they have so many options in there, so many resources, so many features. Crypto.com is actually an amazing app and exchange. But yeah, massive pump today, from Crow and obviously the Trump partnership.
Yeah, that's huge. And we've been talking about crypto.com even from last cycle, and how big that's going to be. So yeah, when we look at the banter bubbles in the last week, CRO, their token is up 48%. OKB still up 40%.
Yeah.
Nothing super sticks out here for the most part. It's just kind of been going up and down, a few projects popping and whatnot. But today, Bitcoin is at 111,000, kind of flat on the week. Ethereum is really starting to take off, up 10% this week. But CRO was the big winner this week with Trump's media group, putting a lot into them. But Mims, let's get into the big week we had again with Texit. Let's see. Last week we had our second biggest week ever. 1,923 miners sold. We, the Texit runners, were 13% of that. 13% of the company. Actually, more than that, because I didn't get to count some of Mims. 13% of the entire company is in the runners organization. So massive congrats to the team. We have so many people killing it. Shout out to Eric Garrison and his crew. They're putting together things that are going to actually blow people away with the production value and the big names that are going to be there, Mims. So you can see here, 48 million raised. Again, guys, we're crowdfunding, building mining facilities, physical proof of work mining facilities. And we're going to show you guys proof of that here in just a minute. But again, 48 million crowdsourced to raise funds for this, guys. And again, they're building these mines in Texit. The goal is to have 35 of them total all over Texas, but anyone in the world can take advantage of this opportunity. And there's no physical miners to get. They're handling all of that for you. So Mims, another record-breaking week. Anything that you want to say of just how amazing this journey has been, and we're just getting started.
Yeah, we have an exponential growth right now. Look, I mean, the ability for you to buy a miner has gotten easier. Okay, if you're watching this live stream, somebody shared this out with you, you can now buy a miner with ACH. Okay, there's no excuse now. Because some people say, I don't know how to get crypto. I got to set up a crypto.com account or Coinbase, and I got to KYC, and I got to wait to send it and all that. No, listen, if you want to get a miner right now, this is the time. We're starting to experience exponential growth. This coin is rising in value. I think it's almost $3 now. Okay, it's going much higher. The ecosystem is expanding. The infrastructure is expanding. We're at that point where, you want to lock in a position. I don't know how else to say it. We're at 296. It's almost an all-time high. I think 298. We're like 2 cents away from the all-time high. We're just having a lot of fun with this project, and people are, making a lot of money, and the value of this coin is up. So everybody who's got in, your assets are up right now. We're going higher. So yeah, I mean, look, lock in. We're breaking records. We're breaking records, and you want to mine as many of these coins as you can. And when you buy that miner, you own it for life. For life, you're going to get paid in this coin, and it's liquid, and it's tradable, and it's rising in value. And you can sell it at any time, and swap it out for any other digital asset if you wanted to every single day. This is what we've been looking for in the blockchain and crypto space when it comes to mining. This is huge. Definitely lock in.
Yeah, and as you guys can see here, I mean, we're at over 4,000% on the year. If we just go to the month, we're at 62%, guys. And I like Mike Healy has a chart that shows the last 6 months, which I'll pull it up and find it here in a minute. But it's pretty crazy just to know 6 months. And again, guys, we got it in like April, okay, and really started pushing this towards the end of May. So, just looking at, in May, we were definitely telling you guys, like, we were having Zooms, we were telling people about it. We were under $1, right? When we joined, we were at 40, 46, 50 cents, right? So we're looking at a 5x, right? $1,000 turning into $5,000 in just a few months here. And again, you guys are going to see from the video we're going to show here in a minute that we're just getting started. But before we go on, okay, guys, if you're watching this right now, we got to get more people on here. We got to spread the message. So hit that like button, drop us a comment, how much you love Texit, how much you are winning. Tag a few people who need to see this, because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty fun stuff. So Mims, today we saw a video of the fog hashing being moved into, oh, which one is this in? Is it Victoria, Texas? Let me double check my notes. Yes, Victoria, Texas. And I've been showing you guys pictures of this on the website, but this is a fog hashing mining facility being dropped in Victoria, Texas, guys. This is not AI, right? This is actual video footage today of them dropping the first massive fog hashing mining facility. I believe there's 200 miners that will go in each of these. 200 L9 amp miners into these fog hashing machines, guys. Mims, what a time to be alive, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? People say, well, where's the value? What gives Bitcoin value? It's the mining facilities all around the world, the miners. When you're seeing Bobby Gray deliver, when you're seeing the transparency, you're seeing the value. Now you understand why we're so excited. Now you understand why we're breaking records and numbers. Now you understand why the coin is rising in value, why it's going higher. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. You guys need to catch the vision, okay? You guys really need to see what's going on. It's next level with Texit. I mean, so I get excited. You see real physical value right there, the real value, man.
And this is one I had shared earlier, right? So again, guys, they're giving us real-time updates. Like this is them pouring the concrete, right? This one came out August 23rd. The one you just saw was like from today or yesterday, right? So they're documenting this, okay, pouring the concrete, bringing in, the actual mines. On the update today, they said, they even got some of the electricity. The electricity isn't up and running yet, but whatever they needed to bring in from the electricity company came in. So we're looking at this mine being operational in about 3 weeks from what Bobby said.
Nice.
And there's 3 more we've already paid for. They've already been ordered and they're on their way here.
Nice. So by the time we in Thailand, that thing will be running.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I love to see that, Yeah.
Definitely. Before we get into the video of Bobby talking about where the coin is headed, Mims, I just want to break down something that you said there about where is the value here, right? Because a lot of people don't understand cryptocurrency. I get it. It's a new technology. It's hard for people to understand. And someone asked me today, they're like, where they said, is this an asset-backed token? And where is the utility? So Mims, before we get into hearing from Bobby, I just want to kind of break this down and get your input as well.
Yeah.
As you said, the first thing is when somebody purchases a miner, or we call it a seat on the rocket ship, right? You're crowdsourcing, crowd sharing, building what you guys just saw. That is the asset. The asset is the physical miner that is being purchased to run the network, and not just our network, not just Texit Coin. They're also mining Litecoin and Dogecoin, and Bobby's going to get into that. So that's the first asset, physical, in real life asset that is backing this token and this community. Mims, I need to pull something up, but your thoughts on that to maybe make it make sense.
Yeah, I mean it's ability to function, it's integrity, it's redundancy, the system that can be built on it. It's a whole nother world when you're talking about blockchain and the application of blockchain and the layers of blockchain, and for us to have our own layer 1 proof of work, a blockchain mining facility with Texit Coin is huge. It's huge. You know what I mean? It's people don't really understand the value of the digital space, just like they didn't understand, the internet. They didn't understand, Web 2, let alone Web 3. So, I mean, the thing is, you don't always have to understand everything, but you have to at least get enough to see that there's some value here, that there's something real here, that there's an opportunity for you to take something that's declining in value, which is your dollars, and put them into something that can have your money grow for you without you having to do physical labor for it, or without you with you being able to make some money while you're sleeping. That's the opportunity that you have. And this opportunity is growing globally. You know, over 15,000 to 18,000 miners sold. Global opportunity here, record breaking numbers happening right now. You know, so that's what you want to see. You want to see something in the real world connecting it to the digital world. And so, like you said, Mike, when somebody says, well, is gold back in the coin, or what's the real world thing, is the real world thing that's giving its value is the physical miners. This state of the art, top of the line mining facilities that are being placed and built all throughout Texas. And the blockchain, which creates a whole nother world of possibilities, which we're already seeing the horizon and in the future that brings and that promises in other blockchains and ecosystems in this space. So it's a massive opportunity to be on something early that has a real value and real physical assets attached to it.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to show you guys, this is actually what they are buying. So when you see, you know, those pictures that you saw of the fog hash, that's what will be in here is Bitmain, Antminer L9s. They can mine Doge, Litecoin, and also Texit coin. Before we get into some more amazing things, I found this Mike's post, right? And again, we're not, obviously, Ricardo would kill me if I bashed XRP, right? But in the last 6 months, XRP has gone up 13%. In the last 6 months, Texit has gone up 962%. And again, if you want to get a Texit miner and sell your Texit coins every day for XRP, that probably would have been a bad decision in hindsight, but you can. If you want to sell it for Bitcoin, or you want to sell it for Solana or BNB or whatever it is that you're into, you can do that. But I don't know of many coins that could have beat 962% in the last 6 months, Mems. I mean, that's almost a 10x in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest diversification exposure play that you could take advantage of, because one thing about XRP is people are buying XRP. Ain't nobody mining XRP. The average person ain't getting in that type of position. So when you can be a part of Texit and own something that's going to pay you every single day in that coin, and even if you sold all the coins you accumulated, the next day you will continue to receive some coins, is huge. And like Mike said, you can take the coins that you were getting from Texit that are rising in value up over 900% in the last 6 months, and you can swap them out for XRP or Bitcoin or whatever other cryptocurrency you want every single day if you wanted to as well. So you can look at it like if you want to look at it like you got an XRP miner, you say, I'm getting XRP every single day. Well, yeah, you can say you're getting XRP every single day, because every single day, if you're going to convert your Texit coins into XRP, you have that ability. So this is the major diversification play. And look, most people in this space are buying crypto. I buy crypto. Buying crypto is a very wise decision, but it's even wiser to figure out how to own a piece of the blockchain and start getting paid in crypto every single day for the rest of your life, regardless of what you do.
Mems, will you remind me next week, we are going to do a live on buying versus mining? Because I feel bad for this guy. He messaged me on Telegram. He wanted to buy a miner July 1st. And I messaged him. I said, hey, you know, give me a text. We text for a little bit. And, you know, I don't know. He just fell off the face of the earth. And then he just messaged me today. He's like, oh, yeah, I want to buy $200 of Texit. And I'm like, oh, man, like, you not messaging me back cost you so much money, bro. Like, yeah. I'm like, if you would have gotten a miner, you would have already made probably $1,000 back. And you'd be getting paid every day. So next week, don't let me forget it. We will talk about why you should be mining versus buying and how much more profitable it can be.
I feel that way about some of the networkers. For people who like to actually share the opportunity, I know they have a network. I reached out to some networkers. and they would have had a sweet position in the binary. We got a leg that we don't got to worry about. That we getting exponential growth right now. More and more people are coming in. People who normally don't even have success sharing are having success sharing. People who normally don't even get 1-2 people interested in anything that they're doing, they're buying miners right now. Okay. And so that's why, lock in, you know what I'm saying? Lock in, because they're coming. It's just a matter of time. They're coming. And I know I'm going to get a call. I'm going to get a call later on from some of them, say, man, I should have got in when you told me to. I had so much going on. Da 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 da. And I'm like, I know you had $1,000. You could have just locked in a position and then finish doing what you're doing and come back. But it's okay. I'm here. Let's go. Let's run. You know what I mean? But look, either way, we've been winning the whole time, maxing out positions and weekly payouts, getting free miners, getting coins every single day, going on trips. And we're going to keep on running, keep on winning. And we want to attract those type of people who want that type of, energy, that want that type of wealth, that want that type of lifestyle. You know what I mean? So that's why y'all running with the runners, because this is what we do. This is what we've been doing. This is what we're going to continue to do.
Hell yeah. So we got to cover this, Mims, because Mike Healy and Terry Talar had an awesome live with Bobby today. And I'm going to bring you guys the best part because I wanted Mims and I to comment on it. But Bobby made a lot of sense here. We're going to break it all down just so you guys get a different perspective. But this is absolutely amazing. Yes, Boone's got a great thing here. Mims quote of the week. It's even wiser to buy the miner. Put that on a t-shirt and sell it.
Let's go. Running. All
right, here we go. So Mike Healy asked the $2,000 question to start off, so I kind of skipped over, 20 minutes for you guys. I got to the good part. This is when it gets really juicy and really exciting. So let's hear what they have to say.
A lot of people obviously are part of Texit already. There's lots of information already out there of people that can watch videos and understand what this really is. The title of this one was, you had an idea about some new math, because in case anybody doesn't recognize my voice, I'm the guy who did the Path to 16 that's kind of gotten pretty viral in the company. And that to me, that's amazing. The $16 mark. And again, we're not making projections. We're not guaranteeing incomes, anything like that. But you had texted, said, I wanted to talk to you guys and obviously the community about some potential new math that you had. And I want us to make sure we stay on that path because this to me a lot is going to get people's attention. And again, crypto's risky. Read the disclaimers going on the bottom, things like that. You're going to have to do your own due diligence. This isn't a get rich quick. We're not investing. We're not saying ROI, none of that stuff. So disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. So Bobby, go ahead.
Well, we can make some projections. We can make some guesses as to what the future has in store for us based on a couple different things. One is based on how we've done historically and the growth that we see on the charts on the website. Obviously, what we've done in the past doesn't indicate what's going to happen in the future, but it gives us at least, a little bit of a window. We can also look at other leaders in the cryptocurrency space that have done things similar to what we're doing right now, and use them at least as a point of reference for comparison. But it's really important to pause for a moment and do this work because we're in the middle right now. We're in the middle of the work. And when you look at the spectrum of doing a project like this, in the beginning, the guys that get involved in the garage, with the screaming L3s, they do it because it's risky, it's fun, and it's like buying that lottery ticket when the Powerball's showing up at $1 billion. It's like you kind of have a feeling like you're not going to win, but YOLO, why not? And then you start opening tabs on the browser about what you would buy if you hit, and you go through that fun exercise. That's what happens in the beginning. In the beginning, the first 5% of the people that get in on a deal like this are doing it because what if? What if it really works? I got $1,000 to throw at it. Why not? The guys that get in all the way at the end, the last 5%, do it because it's a sure bet. They do it because it's a limited opportunity. There's only 1 million seats on the rocket ship. And when you look at the things we have going for us at the end, we talk about the last seat on the rocket ship. Of course, you would want to be on our team. When we've got $200 million in cash for promotion, we've got $100 million of liquidity. We're on top exchanges. We're like just giant community, the largest community outside of Bitcoin. Like when you look at the things that we have going for us towards the end, you go, of course, I'd like to be on that team. You know, people are like, why would anyone buy the last seat on the rocket ship? I mean, there's no referral opportunity. There's no bonuses. There's no rewards. I'm thinking the last seat on the rocket ship is going to sell for so much, we might have to auction it off or give it to charity or something. But the point is that, like, in between those ends of the spectrum, when it's, you know, all about the big risk, or it's all about, you know, being part of a successful project, in the middle is the work. And when you get into the work thing, people, you know, they want to understand what they're doing every day, and the fact that it's leading towards, you know, a conclusion that they desire and like and would be happy with. And so all we have to do is kind of pause for a moment and remind ourselves what that last seat on the rocket ship would look like. And we go, oh, okay. And so, you know, the motivation and the incentives, they don't really change or shift over time, but we lose sight of the forest for the trees, so to speak, if that makes any sense. And so every once in a while I pause and I go, let me just do the math one more time. Let me make sure, based on what we've learned and the numbers we're seeing and the real data that's coming in, day out, let's double check some of these basic premises that we worked with in the beginning to give ourselves a value. And so when you start a new cryptocurrency, it's like, well, what's it worth? You know, where do we price it? Do we price it at 0.000000001, or do we price it at like $4,800 per coin? There's no guidebook on how to do it. There's no rule. There's no example for exactly the right way to do it, because successful projects have come out on both sides. And so what I did when I started Texit is I said, is it possible to make a correlation between the size of the mine and the value of the coin? And of course, every proof of work coin you look like that's successful, that's made it, has that correlation. So the bigger the mine gets, the more valuable the coin becomes. And that's where I started when I said, we're going to build $1 billion coin. We don't want to be on page 38,000 of CoinMarketCap forever. We want to be a top 100 coin. And when you look at the other top 100 coins, you laugh and you go, well, we'll be up there with Bonk coin and Dogwith Hat and Pepe coin and Shiba coin. I mean, these things that are just flat out jokes. We want to be on that same list with these other, you know, top 100 coins. And so it's a little bit laughable at first, but then you look at it and you say, okay, well, how do I get there? And the model that almost everybody else uses is the pump and dump or the influencer model. You know, we go out there, we pay the right people, they say nice things about us on their YouTube channels or Instagrams, and voila, we've got, you know, a top 100 coin. The challenge with that is you don't stay there very long. Once, you know, the pop culture people stop talking about you, your coin kind of tumbles back down and it never recovers. It's very rare that a pumped coin ever sees a second chance to go all the way to the top.
Let me stop there, Mems, because I had right before I got on, somebody messaged me that we know who's an awesome guy, and he said, you know, I got this big guy, and he's like, how do we know this isn't a pump and dump? And I kind of started laughing. I'm like, well, most of the tokens haven't been created yet, right? It was a fair start. There was no pre-mine. This isn't a meme coin with one liquidity pool on Solana. So again, like, people just hear these fear words of like pump and dump. And I even said, Bobby owns less than 4% of the entire supply. And I know this because it's on the blockchain. So again, yeah, if you go to Solana and you find a brand new coin that just came out, it probably is a pump and dump, right? Kanye West had a coin last week that went to 3 billion in a day. But 80% of it was owned by one person because it was pre-mined and insiders got in. Texit's been around now for like a year and 5 or 6 months. You know, like, you just got to learn and understand cryptocurrency to understand that when you ask those questions, this is totally different, right? Being a proof of work blockchain makes us different than 99%. Oh,
and so when
I'm going to, Bobby looked a little crazy there where I paused him. This sets us apart from 99% of all the other cryptocurrencies out there. Mems, anything you want to add before we go on?
Yeah, I think you know, like Mike said, you know, this is the fair launch. There's no pre-mine. You know, we even have mechanisms to where whales can't even come in and manipulate the system. You know, you can only buy 9 miners. in one account, so it's not like even, somebody, and if somebody comes in and buy a lot of the coins, that's just going to boost the value of the coin.
Yep.
And if they sell their value, then the value goes back to where it naturally would have been prior to them coming in, but this is definitely not that. And we have I have a whole inside of my MEMS a whole list of ways to check for like rug pulls and how to look for scam projects, hyped up projects, projects with no validity. We've been in this space long enough to know what to look at. I mean, it took us a little while to even start promoting Texit because we were doing our due diligence on it.
Right.
And we've been in this space long enough. We done seen it all. I mean, we pretty much done seen it all. We get hit with every project you can think of. We've been in some projects, and so you get seasoned. You get better with time at evaluating, and your discernment gets better. And when we look at what Texit is doing, this is why you see us on the live stream right now winning. Okay.
And I want you guys, the main point I wrote down is the size of the mine, how many miners you have equals the price of the coin. So I want you to remember that when Bobby goes into the next part of where we could possibly go. How many miners you have, the power of your network equals the price of the coin.
Start thinking about value and long-term roots, things going deep to give us real credibility, not just as a quick pop, flash in the pan. I started looking at building this mine. And we build the mine for a lot of different reasons. It gives us control. It gives us something that is made in America. It gives us something that actually follows through on proof of works promise. So I don't want to get too much into that now, but I want to talk about the correlation between the size of our mine and the value of our coin. And so like you mentioned in the video that you created about the path to 16, we've got an extremely well documented, well formulated, well researched strategy on how we go from brand new, nobody likes us, nobody knows us, nobody trusts us, to $1 billion coin. And that's all based on the growth of our community. So as our community grows and more people throw that cash in to help crowdfund this project, our pockets get a little deeper and we buy more mining equipment and we install that mining equipment. And then we have more cash to put out there for promotion and marketing. And so we're seeing all those things come together. We also do a couple other things with the cash, pay our team and our development guys, but we additionally put cash into our own liquidity. So I published a chart, I call it the path to 16, and it shows as our cash comes in and we set aside money for liquidity, we are able to go onto the market and buy back our own coins at a particular price. And so we nudge the price of the coin up a little bit, and then we step back. We step back and observe and see if the market agrees in any way whatsoever with what we're doing. And it's really important that people understand that this chart is based on a combination of what I call Gresham's law, which is the idea that bad money pushes good money out of the marketplace. It's the model that I used for the Liberty Dollar and the American.
See, this is when I knew I love Bobby. When he started talking about Gresham's law, right? Because this is going back to, being a teacher, understanding economics, especially Austrian economics, Ludwig von Mises, the Mises Institute. What he is saying here is tried and true economics. You can go to any place in any history of the world, whether it's gold, silver, continentals, state banks in the early part of American history. Gresham's law has held true throughout history. Good money drives out
an open
bad
currency
money.
Standard that made it work so well. And the second part is something called Metcalfe's law that says that the power of a network becomes exponentially valuable as the size of the network increases, right? So you can research both of those things and you can learn more about them on the Path to 16 article. But I was getting into that and I said, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, Bobby's absolutely crazy for shutting this thing down at 100 million megahash. 1 million seats, like we're just getting cooking. There are hundreds of millions of people, tens of millions of people in the US, hundreds of millions of people around the globe that love this type of, growth model. Why would we ever shut it down at 1 million seats? And the idea of shutting it down comes from kind of a couple things. The biggest two, number one, are setting a goal, reaching it and stopping. Anytime you're building something, you always want to know where you want to get, and you want to make sure that you never go too far. The Bitcoin mining network today is estimated to be 10,000 plus times bigger than it needs to be in order to effectively process the transactions that are taking place on that network. People are writing terrible stories about how inefficient and how much energy consumption is being, drawn by this incredible beast that's called Bitcoin mining that has no end in sight. And so as we build this efficient network, we want to say we want it to be this big. We don't need to get any bigger. We need it to be big enough to register on the global scale and the global conversation. We need it to be big enough and reliable enough, robust enough, decentralized enough that it's able to process the transactions that are taking place on the network, the layer 2s and the other, mission critical applications like community currencies. But we don't need it to be so big that it's on this runaway train that's just burning inefficiently through power. We don't need that. So we say, okay, if we're able to build this 100 million mega hash mine, are we able to make an assumption or a projection based on anything else that's out there? And that's where I stop and I pause and I look at Litecoin and Doge. Most people don't know, but Litecoin and Doge both share the same backbone infrastructure, the same mining infrastructure to power those two coins. And so we're building a mine today that's going to be about 5% of the size of the Litecoin Doge network. And because there's a correlation between the size of the mine and the value of the coin, I think it's fair to say that if we build a mine that's big enough and reliable enough that the world's going to use it, and we get to the point where we're 5% of the size of Litecoin Doge, and not just 5% of the size, but we're taking 5% of the Litecoin Doge blocks to pay our electric bill, essentially giving us like free Texit coin. Is it fair to say that we would be worth 5% of Litecoin and Doge combined? And so we look at the value of Litecoin, pull it up right now in the open market. Where are we at today? Litecoin is number 20 today with an $8.7 billion value. And Doge today is $32.9 billion value. So if I get out my calculator and I say 32.9 plus, what do we say, 8.7? 8.7 is a combined value of $41.6 billion, and multiplying that by 5% will give Texit coin a $2 billion value if my math is right and fair, right? And so I'm saying we get to $16. If we do that by February of 2026, that puts us at about $1 billion value with a $16 per coin value. So I'm estimating half of what the Litecoin Doge network is, even though we're 5%. Right. So again, that's where my math begins. My math says there's a strong correlation between size of mine, value of coin. If Litecoin Doge would share the same backbone, are a $41.6 billion coin, and we're 5% of that, we should be at a $2 billion coin. That would put us at 32.
So it's crazy that he said that, Mims, because somebody asked me the other day of like, where do you see this in a year? And I said, I don't like to get into crazy numbers, but I said, I looked at the price, I looked at the market cap, and I said probably between $30 and $50 per Texit coin in the next year. I don't think that's being crazy. I don't think that's coming up with something that just doesn't exist.
Conservative.
But I didn't break it down this way, but now that makes complete sense. If Doge and Litecoin together are 40 billion and we build a mine that's 5% the size of their mining facilities, their mining power, that puts us at a $2 billion market cap, which again, Kanye West meme coin hit 3 billion in one day with nothing. No mining, no advertising, no marketing, no compensation plan, no Bobby Gray, no physical miners, 3 billion in one day. And we're saying in a year, we could be at 2 billion with physical miners, real world use case. That puts us at $32. We're at $3 today. That's a 10x from here. Am I right? Yeah. A little over 10x.
Yeah.
So Mims, I think, this makes so much sense to me. It's almost crazy.
Yeah, it's just understanding the correlation, of the price the value and the actual mining facility. And understand something: the more miners and the bigger the mining facility, the capabilities of that blockchain. You know, they talk about the redundancy and the hash rate and things of that nature. That's where the value is. So obviously, if you have a bigger facility, mining facility, you're seeing the correlation in the price of the coin, but also it's the community, folks. You know, it's that message, that marketing. It's because of that. You know, when you talk about Kanye West coin or Dogecoin, it's because a lot of people knew about it, and a lot of people bought into the value, you know, or the perceived value or whatever, right? But here with Texit, you actually have, like you said, with unlike Bitcoin, you know who's behind this. You have these things inside of Texit that you don't see in other spaces that give it more attraction and potential once people start to really look at what this is. And that's why we're having the exponential growth that we're having right now, with thousands of miners being sold, you know, and tens of thousands of miners being sold, and you know, record-breaking weeks of miners sold. It's because of that same values being exposed. Who is Bobby Gray? You know, what type of mining facility are we building? Where is it? Where are we building it? Why are we building it? What is the use cases? What is this blockchain, the layer one? What are the layer twos that are coming? You know, where's the greater vision? You know, how big is this mine going to be? And I think he's right. I wouldn't want him to just have it open to where we just continue to sell miners. And no, it needs to be capped. It creates more value. Creates more value. Bitcoin is valuable because there's only 21 million coins as well. You know, when you have that kind of cap, okay? So when you talk about 1 million seats, you just need to make sure you got one of them seats. You need to make sure you own some of the miners, okay? Because the world is going to know about Texit. And Bobby Gray is making sure of it. The runners is making sure of it. And you're just going to continue to see the value rise in this project, and the infrastructure continue to be expanded. The transparency is going to continue to be transparent. And that's what's key, you know, some of the key variables and factors to success.
Yeah. And again, guys, you need to watch the whole video. Okay. We're not going to get into more any of it tonight. We took you to $32, 2 billion. Bobby breaks it down of how it's a possibility we could hit $2,000 per Texit coin. And he talks about downtown dollars, right? With McKinney, Texas being the leader. And I got so much information tonight. Let's first of all, Mims, we're going to close it out with just hitting you guys over the head with what is coming. Texit will be on the University of Texas Longhorn football commercials. Okay. Hook 'em horns. I'm a Michigan fan, but University of Texas is one of the top college football brands in the world. Texit will be advertising on those commercials and the radio ads for UT football this fall. We have a $1.25 million monthly marketing budget. Saw Victoria, Texas today. 3 more are on the way. 35 sites across the state. We have $1 million coming in a day into the ecosystem. We are the main sponsor for the Texas Downtown Association, where over 300 different mayors come together to figure out how do we help the economies of our local communities in Texas. Guess who is in there at those meetings being their number one sponsor? Bobby Gray. McKinney is the first use case with over 300 towns to follow. So we have a real physical asset. We're looking to build one of the bigger mining facilities in the world and get 5% of the mining power of Litecoin and Doge that are both top 30 cryptocurrencies and blockchains that don't have this, right? You don't get paid to go out and market Litecoin and Dogecoin other than the price of the token going up. Litecoin and Dogecoin aren't going out and meeting with mayors of over 300 cities in Texas to show them how they can use downtown dollars, which is a layer 2 stable coin that will be built on Texit to help keep money in their local economies, right? And then once you guys watch the rest of this video, you understand we're going to do this in at least 4 or 5 different places around the world. So once we have this proof of concept in America, We're going to take it to Asia, and then we're going to take it to Europe. And then I don't know, after that, I'm kind of just making stuff up. But that's what the plan is right now, guys. So whoever shared this video with you, get back with them. We got a few links down below if you want to know more. You know, how Bobby Gray explains Texit simply, a landing page where Mitchell shares his story. But Mims, I'll give you the last word tonight. How anyone can look at this and actually take the time to see it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, Mims. I'm just excited about what we have here.
Yeah, I mean, the value is there without a doubt. You know, you just need to make sure that you lock in. You know, get back to the person that shared this video with you. Like this out, share this out. A lot of our content is suppressed. I'm telling you, but you know, when you look at the value of this coin, I don't even need it to go to $2,000 per coin. You know what I'm saying? I don't even need it to go to $1,000 per coin. But it's exciting to know that potential is there. It's exciting that there's an understanding of how that value can be materialized. You know, it's exciting to be able to plot and project and see a vision of how that's even possible. And then to be a part of something of that magnitude so early, and what that means for the life-changing potential for you and your family. Just because you were in the know. A lot of people don't know about Texit. You happen to be watching this video. Somebody shared this information. You fortunate enough to know about it. I wish I knew about it earlier. I knew somebody who knew about it a year ago, and I'm wondering why the hell they ain't tell me. Okay? So it's somebody who gonna find out a year from now and wish they had knew a year earlier. You're finding out about it now. Take advantage. There's no reason not to get a miner right now. Under $1,000. Okay? I've seen other projects, miners are over 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. You know, we've been in this space. Miners under $1,000 right now. You can get it through ACH. Okay, with your bank, pay with crypto. Look, you better lace up, run with the runners.